Yo. Okay, while people are coming in, let me present my entire screen, share. All right. There's 1 through 4. There's 1 through 4. If you have questions about those, bring it back up. There we go. we go. All right. Anybody have questions about 1 through 4? All right. If that's the case, then there is 5 and 6 as well. Everybody's good with 5 and 6? Going once, going twice. All right. There's 7 and 8 then as well.
Can you go over number 7?
Absolutely. Okay. Open this up. There we go. Okay, so we're trying to find the angle C, and we're in luck because that's opposite the longest side. So this is a one-step move. All right. Recall from your law of cosine. Okay, recall from your law of cosine. All right. That the cosine of C, all right, is the two adjacent sides to C. So 7 squared plus 12 squared minus the opposite side, which is the 14 squared, all over 2 times, and again, the sides of the angle, so 7 and 12. When I do my numerator, it ends up being -3. My denominator ends up being 168. All right. So basically, I go second, then go to my calculator, do second cosine, -3 divided by 168. So second cosine, -3 divided by 168. And I get the 91.02 degrees. So that's why C is 91 degrees. If they asked you to get different angles, then you would then use law of sines to get the remaining angle. But because they didn't, there you go.
Thank you.
No worries. Everybody good with 7 and 8 now? All right, that brings us to 9 through 12, solving triangles. Good? Okay, real quick, I just want to go over something that may be beneficial to people, and then we will talk about how class is going to run beginning next week. And then we will start talking about word problems, which we will finish then tomorrow. All right. So the first thing is something to help you. All right. And that is using area of a triangle. So if I look at number 2, all right, this was yesterday's worksheet. You don't necessarily have to get it out if you don't want to. All right. But we said that S is half the perimeter, which was 19. And then area equals the square root of 19, the S, times all the sides subtracted from it. 7, 5, and 7. All right. 19 times 7 times 5 times 7. And the square root of that is 68.2. So area is 68.2. Okay, well, we talked yesterday, area can also be found using the formula 1/2 AB sine C. Okay, well, let's say we want to find angle D. All right, so that would be 1/2 12 14 sine of D. Okay, well, if we do it using Heron's formula and we do it doing sines, the numbers should come out to be the same. So you can take the area using Heron's formula and set it equal to the area doing the other way. All right. Half of 12 is 6. 6 times 14 is 84. 84 sine D equals 68.2. Divide by 84, and you get sine D is approximately 0.8119. All right, you can then do second sine, 0.8119, and you get 54 degrees. So if you're stuck and you're looking for a means to find an angle, and law of cosines is messing you up or law of sines is messing you up, you can do that. Now, working the other way is kind of harder, all right, because you're using square root, so I wouldn't recommend it. But if they give you the 3 sides and you're trying to find the angle, you can use both area formulas, set them equal to each other to find the angle. It's an alternative way of doing it. Now, before we do the word problems, a word of note, beginning next week, we're back in hybrid. You are still required to show up for the live stream for those of you that are home. All right, we're doing synchronous learning. So the days you are home, you are required to show up into the Google Meet in order to follow along. If not, it's considered a cut. All right, unless you're absent from school for the day, even if you're virtual and you're home sick, then you need to notify them that you're absent. But as long as you're present in school, you're expected to be here. Now, next week, for example, it won't be long. It'll be about 5-10 minutes at the beginning of each class, and then you're going to work independently on word problems. All right, but you are required, except on quiz day when you go right to Edulastic, you are required to continue to show up on time. We go back to the regular schedule next week. All right, so period 5 begins at around 11:05, so you're expected to be here at 11:05. All right, and again, when you're home, whether you're completely virtual or you're a hybrid day, you're required to show up for the live stream. All right, to make sure everybody understands that. All right, now the word problems dealing with law of cosines. The lengths of the diagonals of a parallelogram are 8 and 12 feet. Find the lengths of the diagonals if one of its angles measures 59 degrees. Okay, so we start with a parallelogram and we label the sides 8 and 12. 59 degrees is an acute angle, so we'll label the acute angle with a 59. And then we'll draw in one of the diagonals. All right? We'll call it D. Okay? d squared equals, okay, d squared equals the other two sides squared. So 8 squared plus 12 squared. 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2, 8, 12 cosine of 59. All right, so I'm going to do that math. 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12 cosine 59. And d squared comes out to be approximately 109.1. Hold on. 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12 cosine 59. Yep, 109.1. Yep. All right, and then we do the square root of that. So the square root of 109.1 gives us a diagonal of approximately 10.4. All right. So we got a 10.4. Now, to get the other diagonal, you have to remember properties of diagonals. All right. And what that is consecutive angles are supplementary. So if this one is 59, that one would be 121. And then I need to get the length of that diagonal as well. So 8 and 12. Setup's the same. 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2, 8, 12. The only difference is instead of 59, it's the cosine of 121. Go to my calculator, do 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12, cosine 121. And this d squared equals 306.9. I then do the square root of that, and d is approximately 17.5. All right. Also keep in mind, if we have an equilateral parallelogram known as a rhombus, all the sides are the same. All right. So if a problem shows up where it's a rhombus, then all the sides are. All right. Next up, Artemis seeks knowledge of the width of Orion's belt, which is a pattern of stars in the Orion constellation. She has previously discovered the distances from her house to Alnitak is 736 light years, and to Mintaka is 915 light years, which are endpoints of Orion's belt. She also knows the angle between these stars in the sky is 3 degrees. What is the width of Orion's belt? That is, what is the distance between Alnitak and Mintaka around the nearest light year? All right, so we start with a triangle. Doesn't need to be drawn to scale. All right, this is Artemis's house. This is Alnitak, and that is Mintaka. They say the distance from her house to Alnitak is 736 light years. The distance to Mintaka is 915 light years. and the angle between them is 3 degrees. Again, you don't have to draw it perfectly 3 degrees. And we're trying to find this, the distance on the opposite side. So same idea we did up there, x squared equals the two sides of the triangle squared, so 736 squared minus plus 915 squared, minus 2 times their segments times the cosine of 3 degrees. All right, 736 squared plus 915 squared. All right, numbers are big, so you may want to break it down a little bit. 1378921 minus 736 915 cosine of 3 gives me 134.5034.1. Again, it's up to you what you want to do with your calculator. All right, but that depends on how many steps you show. So this becomes 33,886.9. Please remember that that is x squared, not x. So your last step, as always, is to do the square root. And the square root of that comes out to be approximately 184.1 light. All right, we'll come to the bicycle race and we're going to change this from 6.2 to just 6 kilometers. A bicycle race follows a triangular course with 3 legs measuring in order 2.3 kilometers, 3.9 kilometers, and 6 kilometers. Find the angle to the nearest degree a rider must turn when going between each leg. So again, I draw myself a triangle. Doesn't need to be drawn to scale. There's my 2.3. There's my 3.9. There's my 6. Okay. Again, when working with when they give you 3 sides, you got to work with the longest side on that angle A. So the cosine of A equals the 2.3 squared plus 3.9 squared minus the opposite side, 6 squared, all over 2 times 2.3, 3.9. .3 squared plus 3.9 squared minus 6 squared gives me a numerator of negative 15.5. 2 times 2.3, 3.9 gives me a denominator of 17.94. All right. So now I'm going to do second cosine. Put in that as a division problem. The second cosine, negative 15.5 divided by 17.94. And it gives me 149.8 degrees. Now law of sines kicks in. You can pick any other side you want. You pick the 3.9 over sine of B. That's equal to the 6 over the sine of 149.8. Cross multiply, 3.9, sine 149.8. I divide that by 6. Sine B comes out to be 0.3270 when I'm done rounding. I do second sine, 0.3270, and I get B to be 19.1 degrees. And then to get my final answer for my third angle, all I do is add the two I have, subtract from 180, 149.8 plus 19.1 is 168.9. Subtract that from 180 and you get 11.1. One more. Leo and Brad are standing in the desert 500 feet apart, observing a vulture flying overhead. Leo's straight line distance to the vulture is 350 feet, while Brad's straight line distance to the bird is 400 feet. Find the angle of elevation of each person in the vulture, assuming the vulture is flying between them. So there's Leo, there's Brad, and there's the vulture. Makes a triangle. They tell us Leo and Brad are 500 feet apart. Says Leo's straight line distance is 350 feet. And then Brad's straight line distance is 400 feet. All right. Since 500 is the biggest side, we're going to find V. All right. So the cosine of V equals the two sides, 350 squared plus 400 squared minus the opposite side squared, all over 2 times the first two sides, 350 and 400. 350 squared plus 400 squared minus 500 squared, 32,500 for the numerator. 2 times 350 times 400, 280,000. I would then do cosine -1 of that expression. 32,500 divided by 280,000. And I get 83.3 degrees. Law of sines kicks in. I can get either B or L. It doesn't matter. Sine L over 400 equals the sine of 83.3 over 500. Cross multiply 400 times the sine of 83.3. Divide that by 500 and you get your value of sine. Sine L comes out to be about 0.7945. So I'm going to do second sine, 0.7945. And I get 52.6 degrees. So that would be L. And then finally, to get angle B, I would add them up. 83.3 plus 52.6 is 135.9. Subtract that from 180, and I believe you get 44. All right, I'll stay on for about 5 minutes. If you don't have any questions, make sure you get the area homework done tonight. That is the only thing that's due. Tomorrow we'll do the last word problem and then do any other review questions in preparations for Friday's quiz. If you don't have any questions, you are good to go. Be safe.
Have a good day.
Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye, guys.